Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are back in the Odin. I know. Didn't see that coming, did you? Unless, of course, you read the comments and you've been seeing that people have been asking for the Odin over and over again. So, with that being said, let's get in. I did make some changes to my build, just specific to the Odin, so let's get into it. We're running the Henry J. Hyde Commander, obviously Moist Critical as a guise. We've got Palo de Revel and Azure Lane, Colorado as our inspirations. Flammable Cannoneer, Aladad, Marksmanship, Master Mechanic, and Fight Fire with Fire. Okay. We're not going to go into any of the specs because you guys should know that by now. But I did want to kind of look at the ship because I do love the look of the ship, I ain't gonna lie. German or not, I do love the Odin and always have. The Odin is a fantastic ship. Anybody that says it isn't, it's a skill issue. Just saying. If you struggle with the Odin, it's because you don't know how to aim. These 305s are fantastic, unlike the Brandenburg's 305s, which can't hit the broadside of a barn from the inside. But, yeah, let's look at my stats, just so that you guys think I'm not out here, like, making fun of, or saying that it's the greatest ship. I ain't saying it's the greatest. Look at this, 50% win rate. Is it a huge carry ship? No. Why? Because it doesn't do that much damage. Even if you catch full broadsides, it struggles to really get rid of ships. And that is the biggest issue with this. But we've played 18 battles, we got 9 and 9, right? But look at the accuracy for a battleship. 48%. 48%. Alright? We average 1.4 million potential damage per match, which is pretty high for even a battleship. But that just shows that I tend to be up in there. And then, of course, the damage per ship, or damage per game, is average of 80,000. So, not too shabby, okay? Don't sleep on the Odin. And with that being said, let's get to our gameplay. Alrighty, so we're going to be on Northern Waters. And for full disclosure, this was the very first match that I played tonight. And, happily, it's the video you guys get to see. But, again, a lot of people discount the Odin, and I don't know why. I really don't know why. People love the Brandenburg. I don't know why either. Like, I've played the Brandenburg, I've played the Odin. I'll take the Odin every single day, 3 times a day, over the Odin, or over the Brandenburg any day of the week. But everybody loves the Brandenburg and hates the Odin. I don't understand it. I've never understood it. Why hate on the Odin when it is literally just a better Brandenburg? Spartan, how dare you? How dare you? The Exalted One. You can't make fun of the Exalted One, Spartan. The Brandenburg is the greatest ship ever built. That's where we disagree. But anyway, they're essentially the same ship, except Odin has better torp placement, first of all, and second of all, doesn't have the long-range secondaries. Oh my god. What will we do without long-range secondaries in World of Warships Legends? What will we do? I don't know. Use the primaries for some damage. What a concept. You know what you don't have to do in this ship? Spam HE out of your primary guns because the primaries, A, can't hit anything, and when they do hit something, they generally shatter or bounce. That's what you don't have to do in the Odin. Alright? Which means you get to clap everybody's broadside with this thing. Now, I will put the caveat out there that yes, these 305s don't hit the hardest, okay? It's to be expected. Treat this thing like an Alaska, alright? Just treat it like an Alaska, except you get torpedoes. That's it. Treat it like an Alaska. This thing is absurdly good. And we're going to showcase some of that in the battle coming up. Now, I'm trying to figure out what's on our left side, but what you're seeing right now is a prime example of how useful our team is going to be, okay? Carrier, not moving, so he doesn't have any plan of what he should do during the match. He's just kind of sitting still, as every carrier player does. Baltimore just running straight up into the cap in the middle of the map. That never ends poorly, I'm sure. And then, of course, the Destroyer doing circles, knowing that there's a Friesland nearby. They've already had him spotted, but knowing there's a Friesland nearby, just doing circles without any real plan either. So, yeah, with all of this being said, we've got the Brandenburg here, and then all of a sudden, the Monarch is just spotted full broadside, okay? We're going to use our spotter plane, aim a little bit higher than the belt, because we're not likely to Citadel the Monarch. So we're just going to aim and try to get as many shells on target as possible. We hit him with 3, we get 9,000 damage. Not too shabby. I do drop some torpedoes off just to try to get a chance to like change what this, you know, this whatever your Brandenburg's going to do to us. And this is a prime example of the difference between a Brandenburg and an Odin. And Odin generally plays to the main guns, whereas the Brandenburg only has two options, and that is torpedoes and the secondaries, and that's it. But as you can see, anybody who says that this is a bad ship, it's a skill issue. That's all I'm saying. That was, what, 17,000 damage right there? With one broadside? And that's not even citadels. That's just 8 penetrations. You can see he does get stuck. We're going to go ahead and take another shot. Now, it is German. It will eventually disappoint you, but 6 more penetrations, and the man is low health. Now, pay attention to the Tirpitz on my right. There's a Tirpitz, there's an Iowa as well, and watch where the Iowa ends up going, okay? I want you to pay attention to these two players in particular as we take another beautiful shot into the broadside of the Brandenburg, and just have to. We're not allowed to kill people. Y'all already know. We have to leave with just enough. Get away. Every time. But you can see this Monarch player doesn't know what he's doing. He's shooting HE out of the Monarch, which is prime, I don't know what I'm doing territory, alright? If you're shooting HE out of the Monarch, you're doing it wrong, alright? Very rarely do you need to shoot HE out of a Monarch. It's got some of the nastiest AP out there. And again, this just comes down to experience, man. You get people that try, they don't try to experiment with their different ships or anything. They play a ship, it's like, oh, it's British battleship, HE must be the answer. Wrong. AP, sunshine, just like the Hood. If you're shooting HE out of the Hood, you're doing it wrong. It's just the way it is. Yes, there are British battleships that do better with HE. Monarch and Hood are not those battleships, okay? And I would argue that Duncan is up in the air. You can have HE or AP on Duncan and do just fine either way. Personally, I prefer AP on Duncan, but that's just because I like the Citadel things. But yes, the HE is ridiculous as well. It's got Conqueror HE. But I digress. Pay attention to the amount of damage we've already done. We've taken all the health off the Brandenburg, all the health off the Monarch. There's 72,000 damage done relatively quickly with 305mm guns. Just keep that in mind as well. Brandenburg ain't doing that. I'm sorry. Brandenburg just can't hit the target. When it does, it's just sadness. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. Every time I've played the Brandenburg, I've wanted to absolutely throw that ship out the window. Just the way it is. Now, pay attention again. Iowa decides to come over. Now he's going to replace me. Why? Why? Why is this what you're doing? Is there anybody else over here to fight? Anybody at all? No. Even the Monarch has reversed out of here. Which is why I have not chased him, started putting myself in a position to counter the push from the enemy team on the other side of the map. This is the part that people can't understand. This is the part that drives me crazy and drives every player that actually has any brain cells at all crazy. It's because nobody reads the minimap, nobody understands what the enemy is doing, and nobody puts themselves in position to crossfire and be useful. They would rather come all the way across the map, hide behind an island, and run chasing a bow tank, at that point, a bow tanking Monarch, instead of, if he'd have just sat right here, he's got a perfect shot at a broadside Monarch with his Iowa. Right? Am I crazy? No, I'm not. I'm simply pointing out the obvious. Am I hating on the players? No, I'm just pointing out the obvious that people do not pay attention. Plain and simple, but we already know this. But there's the dispersion that you come to know and love from German ships. But again, we take even more of the health off that guy. Watch how long it takes them to do anything to that guy. Alright? Now, we're going to go put ourselves in position to do other things. Unfortunately, they have a Friesland here in the middle of the map that is spotting us for the Helena. And the Helena is actually paying attention and is going to try to put himself out of reach of me as I try to wait for the shot as he tries to make his move. I'm like, okay, he's clearly going to turn, so we're going to go ahead and lead the target. We get the shot out. Of course, as soon as we shoot, Friesland gets spotted. Our destroyer is trying to YOLO a Monarch. They have finally gotten rid of the Monarch between the two of them. That was at 8 minutes and 30 seconds, okay? Friesland comes out. I don't have HE loaded. This would be one of the times where the Brandenburg would come in handy because he is well within range of the secondaries of a Brandenburg, and also, in Brandenburg, you generally have HE already loaded, so he would have done more damage. But I also want you to pay attention to the fact that we have a really good reload time on this thing as well. Like, what are we at? Like 16 seconds or something like that? I mean, it's literally in Alaska. But you can see Anchorage out here. We're going to go ahead and try to take a shot at Anchorage. I think he ends up reversing here. But what we need to do is get away from these cruisers, because these cruisers are a problem. Friesland is, but not really, because he's not really being like all that aggressive to us. He doesn't have torpedoes to worry about. We do have the heels, so we're going to go ahead and use that. We've got the New Jersey and the Flounder out here on this far right flank. We have a bow tanking and a bow tanking Jean Bart, and then somebody else over here on the right flank. And between them, look at my positioning compared to the rest of my team. What are the Iowa and the Tirpitz doing? Just explain that. What are they doing? They're chasing a ghost of potentially catching up to a carrier, right? That's what they're doing. Why? Now, when you see the end results, you'll know why, all right? You'll know why I end up where I do. And it's simply due to the fact that I don't get it, like, as the person who's actually playing smart and doing my job and cross-firing and all this stuff, I don't get the benefit of the doubt. But by God, if you shoot down 5 or 6 planes, you get the best XP on the planet. Which is why XP is so stupid in this game. XP makes no sense at all. Because you can have, like, the worst game on the planet still get XP by getting a cap or getting planes shot down. And that's what they're doing. They're shooting planes down. But as I put myself in position, I want you guys to pay attention to what I'm doing here. I'm setting the New Jersey up for a torp strike while shooting my guns at the Flounder. This does 2 things. One, it puts the mind of the New Jersey at ease, right? Like, if I'm shooting Flounder, why would I be able to torp the New Jersey, right? He doesn't think about this. But this is where the torps of the Odin come in handy. Think of how much HE we took. We had Monarch shooting HE, we had the Brandenburg secondaries, and yet our torpedoes are still alive, and still a huge problem as we citadel the New Jersey, but all of our shells fall short, despite the fact that he turned in towards us, right? We did hit a couple of torpedoes, we get our high caliber, we're at 140,000 damage, and now we know we don't overmatch, so we simply go for the shot into the superstructure to try to finish him off. And then the Friesland comes out. Now, this is where the Friesland's actually a problem, because I can't really shoot at him. But I have another battleship right there, and we won't talk about the other battleship that ran all the way back to the carrier just to turn around and come back now. We won't talk about him at all. But there's a Jean Bart right there. I have the Colorado well in hand. Why can he not shoot the freaking Friesland? Right? Like, I need to try to get rid of this Colorado. I have a broadside. It makes sense for me to go for him. But for whatever reason, my teammate just cannot shoot the Friesland at all. It's out of his you know. Look how close they are, by the way. Just look. Now here, I waited too long to try to come out and get the torps off, so I end up dead here. But I did my job. 170,000 damage in a freaking Odin with 305mm guns. Like, come on. But you know that nobody else on the team is anywhere near that damage total, and that's pretty obvious when you look at the medals at the end of the game and realize that I'm the only one with a high caliber on the entire team. But again, if you look at what was going on, look, Jean Bart right here takes all of the health from the Odin, or from the freaking destroyer at this range, right? One shot, all of his health, and then what does he do? I'm gonna turn and run from the destroyer. He doesn't have torpedoes. Why are you running? Why are you running? God, you people drive me crazy. And this is exactly what I'm saying. Why? Are you gonna try to get your guns all the way around? This is a high DPM destroyer. It's a high DPM destroyer. He was hoping that his secondaries would get the kill, is the only answer to this question. And now he's dead to a destroyer that had no hit points. All he had to do was sit there. He didn't have to run. He could have just sat still. His guns would have been in position. He could have killed the destroyer, and he would have lived. But again, too big brain for most people. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Just like shooting the destroyer there when you know it's a Colorado versus, you know, any other battleship. Like, Colorado's full broadside to me. Like, you don't think I can deal damage to him? Like, shoot the destroyer. He's the one, like, I understand he's not shooting you, so it's not a problem, right? But yeah, here we got Iowa getting a good shot on the side of the anchorage. But like, these are the games that drive me crazy. I love the game, don't get me wrong, but it's all of the extra stuff that we witness as good players. Like, the average player probably not paying attention to that sort of stuff, right? They're not paying attention to the little things that go on. But the better you get at the game, the more you recognize these little things that people do during a match. Like this Rook. This Rook was on this flank. He has torpedoes. He is a battle cruiser. Why did he run away and go hug the carrier just to come back and do nothing? Explain it. You can't. All the health in the world. Too much for him. But the Iowa does get a good shot here. Hits the Friesland to finish him off, saving our carrier once again. But boy, it's the little things, man. It's the little things that as a good player you recognize, and as a player that is like newer to the game, you probably don't. But here he gets a nice shot over the top of the island and finishes off the anchorage. And like I said, when you see the XP awarded for this match, you'll understand. But we did 170,000 damage with only 2 torpedo hits. That's almost all guns, guys. But we get third on the team with 2,500 base XP because Iowa and John Bart, 2 prolific AA battleships, get top of the leaderboard. Neither of which had a high caliber, neither of which had any medals, so it's all down to shooting down planes, guaranteed, because they didn't do any damage. And you don't get XP for tanking damage. So you guys let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll be interested to hear from you. If you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.